I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This is our first live Perry Township regular board meeting for months and months and months. And last month we had the Zoom meeting, and now it's illegal according to the government. So now we're having a actual live videotape regular meeting. So roll call.
Mark Foltz.
Here.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffith.
Here.
Kelly Schmidt here. Roy Harmon.
Here. Okay. And you at home can see we're all still here. You re-elected us, thank you, and we'll get started with the agenda. Kelly, we got a couple things to add, don't we?
Yep, I need to add landscape trailer sale, question mark.
Okay. Township trailer sales, and we're also going to talk about the township asphalt paving lot rehab.
For the
What?
lot here?
Yeah, because I walked it and the cracks are this wide, you know.
I understand that, but we don't have the money.
Oh, we'll talk about that. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And was there one more?
Nope, just that.
Okay, so that's our agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. March 3rd, 2021 was our regular meeting minutes via Zoom. Any changes, or corrections, or additions, or subtractions?
Motion.
Mark, motion to approve. Okay, second. Butch?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comments? Okay. All right. Sheriff's report. Mark.
Okay, so, they got a new guy doing it. He's using graphs. It's just, he's got to tweak it just a little bit because it's only pulling out what the sheriff's department, calls are. It's not actually it's dumping all of the township calls into the city.
Oh,
And so they've got to figure out how to separate that. So these are just, these numbers are just Shiawassee County Sheriff's Department calls in our township. There were 5 traffic stops. And they don't have the total here, but animal complaint was 1. There wasn't a whole lot of anything, so
okay.
hopefully next time we'll have a better.
They have a new coordinator, a new,
Yep, Brian Smith is the new sergeant here.
all right. Mark, Cecil?
Well, in the last set of minutes that you have is February, we approved about $200,000 purchase of new medical equipment. The monitors have been made obsolete by the government.
Monitors?
Yeah, the heart monitors, so we have to replace all of those, and they're about $50,000 a piece.
The heart hasn't changed, has it?
No, this company kind of stepped on somebody's toes and,
One of those deals.
yep. And so, at any rate, we got a good deal. We got a pretty good discount off on each one because we bought them together with Owasso City and Corona Ambulance and some other people.
Good.
And we have to replace some other stuff, so the same company supplies the power cots, supplies the AED monitors that are used by the MFRs and stuff like that. So we were able to buy that stuff at a pretty good deal. Plus they gave us 3 payments, 3 years, no interest.
Perfect,
So,
perfect.
because we didn't really have the cash to do this all at once right now. This wasn't a planned purchase. We were kind of stuck in the corner. And also the prices were going up in March. So we did it and made it happen and all that. Then at the last meeting, we put on a new member from Morris to replace Kathy, who passed away. And then we had a treasurer's election to replace Kathy, who passed away, and that is that is now Mrs. Sprague from Vernon Township, so Janet Sprague, so. And we also approved a bid for a new auditor of Horner and Gear because the old auditor wouldn't do ours anymore. So that was, and then as you guys have probably heard, about a month ago we had 8 people out with COVID from the ambulance crews. But we were able to cover and things, some people stepped up extra. It so happened one of the 8 was the chief. That created some, some other people that need to step into his place.
How many of the 8 had COVID shots?
None.
Oh.
Somehow, some of the people that have the loudest voices have convinced themselves that the COVID shot was going to make you sick because it was made from the virus itself. And so most of the ambulance people have not gotten, in fact, I don't think any of them had gotten a shot up to that point. It was offered to them many times, they just ignored it. There has been some now that have gotten it, or in the process. But, you can't force it.
Shame on them, yeah.
So, I've been drafted to the personnel committee because Bill can't participate right now. So, we have had 2 meetings because of that whole subject to try to keep things moving forward. And we did have some people that did a great job of stepping up
Good, that's great.
and handling things, so,
Okay.
We were never out of service.
no.
It was technical.
It was close.
And we were also helping out another ambulance service
Yeah.
on call.
Okay.
But we have a good relationship with everybody around us, and it all worked out really well.
Good. Okay. Mark, anything else
No, that's
on that? Okay. DDA, we're gonna meet April 21st at 6:30. It's a Wednesday night. Zoning, no report yet. John,
Yes, I'm here.
County Commissioner.
Gosh,
Is here. This is what our County Commissioner looks like. This is John Plowman.
I had black hair a year ago. No, I think Larry Johnson had blonde hair. Now it's got a lot of gray. But anyway, Mark had a little thing, and really we were very, very fortunate that we didn't really have any COVID episodes in our ambulance department for over a year in fire. But fire's volunteer and so and gotten that. But that's moving along and things are fine and everybody's back to work. So that's really good. Something that I reported on, I was at a meeting, and I read the Wall Street every day, and something happened that hasn't had any press time, and it's really, I'm stunned. Canadian National Railroad bought the Kansas City Southern Railroad. Okay? Now, that may not mean a big deal. It didn't mean, I read the headline in Wall Street. But what it means is the Canadian National Railroad had been trying to buy a railroad that didn't copy any of their lines, because they go through Canada, northern the United States, into Michigan, across into Canada. And they went to the tip of the bottom of Mexico. Why? Then the article explains there's tons and tons of bottlenecks at ports. Like Louisiana, New Orleans, huge problems in California. The government out there, the California government, and no expansion of those port facilities since time began. Well, with Canadian National Railroad actually purchasing Kansas City Southern and not laying off anyone, even the CEO of Kansas City Southern will take a position with the new group because they're going to start pulling those ships cargoes up on trains all the way up through the I-69 corridor to Chicago, Detroit, Fort Huron, and quite frankly, our international corridor could even get busier because of it. It is a big, big deal.
Okay, good.
I mean, they could really affect, again, we have 1,000 jobs in this county that's open, and maybe 2,000 before you know it. Yeah, I mean, it's
It's a
really.
good problem to have.
Yeah, but it's fascinating how other businesses saw this glut, I mean, not a glut, nobody could get their product and said, we need to do something. Well, they're gonna do something. They're gonna be able to push product quicker than ships. So, it'd be interesting. Anyway, there'll be more on that, I'm sure, in the future. COVID money. It was reported that the Charles County got 13.3. That's true, but all for all units. But the county itself, county government, is going to get about 8 million. It's just fascinating to me, and we've talked about this before the meeting a little bit, that really our tax revenues for our county government have been excellent. We've had increases of valuation. We're going to get up another $1 million in revenues this year, probably more. That was very conservative. Might be $1.6 million total or $1.8 million. We didn't even budget that money. I mean, and Troy hit the nail right on the head. If you don't remember inflation from 79, 80, and 81, and of course maybe you don't.
Well, I don't either, but I've heard I've heard plenty of the stories.
Well, it wiped out about half the car dealers I knew, because I was in the new car business. But inflation is good at somehow creep into the system somehow. And it's probably going a way that we don't like. But I remember floor planning cars that cost $4,000 at 25%. Now the cars cost 40, 50, 60, 80,000. That's 25% based on a 12-month per month rate. I mean, it'll be devastating. We could have depreciation. Ooh, no, not depreciation.
Deflation.
Deflation. And that's even worse a lot of times than inflation. So anyway, so I just want to say for the county, we're looking at, well, we got some projects. We're working on our personnel policies. We're in the process of purchasing property for a new veterans building on the ground floor. It'll probably be a 3-story building. We've negotiated the one piece, and we're in the process of negotiating the other piece. But other than that, the county's good. So why do we get money? I mean, yeah, it's nice. Don't worry about that. We'll find a way to spend it, or save it, or spend it, whatever we do. But what I'm saying is, do we really need this stimulus package now? And it's probably a good answer is no. So, and also keep in mind that we've only spent, 20%, or wait a minute, we still haven't spent 25% of all the previous COVID packages.
Really?
Or 40%. I mean, it's a huge number.
Okay.
Now, keep this in mind, this bill with this new COVID that was just passed, this is the first year of 7. 7 years. Yeah, you think in my mind, and maybe discussing it with all of us, that money would all be here this year, right? Oh, no. It's 7 years of largeness.
Really?
And so the pressure on producing could enhance the inflation pressures even more. So, I mean, think about this. I'm sitting there as a county commissioner, and I'm going to get $8 million a year from the federal government, and my budget is $17 million, and I'm going to get $8 million
More.
So,
Each year?
and in that package, you can't reduce taxes. Well, that's illegal. It won't stand the test at the Supreme Court, but it would probably take a year, 2 years to get there. I mean, we could say as a board, we levy 5.55, 431, Headley, I'll say 5.555. We don't levy because we're swimming in money. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. We're all looking at each other on the County Board of Commissioners going, whoa. I mean, and we're probably at the lowest employment of people in the county because of putting out work, computers we've had as less people in the county working as probably since the 60s, early 60s. That's 60 years ago. So anyway, it's going to be very interesting to me. Also, I go to the road commission meetings. The road commission pretty much finished up everything they wanted to do last year. They're pretty much on track to do everything with the townships this year. They bought some equipment for this year they didn't buy last year, so maybe save some money, but they're right back. They can purchase their equipment and keep everything like they like to do it. It's another thing. And another thing, I'll touch on real quick, we can do something with the COVID money for our retirement programs, which are in a real bad shape long term. But maybe we'll have to look at that. Because I know the projections of what will come next year in monies will be here soon. So, and I'm just, it's amazing. Now the road commission didn't get money because they're part of county government. So road commission, because I'm their liaison, they went, hey John, would you want to give us part of that $8 million for roads? Well, that certainly will be a discussion. So, and then it's true that our jail needs to be massively improved, or a new one. That's come up too. So.
See, that was my question. Could some of it be used to tackle the jail problem?
And we're going to end up with $15–16 million in our tax delinquent fund by the end of this year, and we're looking at a surplus that's huge. Not that we didn't spend in our regular budget.
Just say, need to get the pensions thing straightened out, and then maybe tackle the jail problem.
Well, we've done the two legs, we got the third leg to go. Our new pension program is in force for all new hires, period. And then our 457 went from an insurance carrier to Meaner Wealth, and now we're doing all the paperwork for the transfer for MERS. So, the MERS rules were really something that's going to take effect January 1st, 22. If their average of 7.35% investment does not happen on a yearly basis, the county has to make up the difference, plus what they owe. And that's projected to be $10–12 million a year.
But they're in charge of the investments.
Yes.
You're not in charge of it.
No.
If they do it wrong, you have to pay.
Yes, that's correct. And it's huge.
Well, that's a sweet gig to be an investment.
It's right in our audit of 19 in big, bold letters. And I'll tell you what, folks, and so that's why I'm pushing so hard. I'm trying to save the government, who is swimming decently with funds, maybe to do some things that we have not been able to do, like a jail, renovate the jail, veterans building, whatever, and a pension that we can't ever pay.
You won't be able to maintain it, yeah.
No, and you know all about the Flint pension, Board of Water and Light pension. That's a good story too. It's in Lansing. But those are things we've been really intent on. I've been meeting every week with the planners, Meaner Wealth, the Blue Star people, and so on and so forth. That's coming. We have to. We don't have a chance. Also, Treasury, Michigan Treasury says, where are you? Where are you? Got it done yet? Got it done yet? Yep.
Okay, John.
I don't think there's anything else. Any questions? I'm sorry.
Just one comment. The story on the railroad. I read the same story, but I double-checked that. The one I read, it said it was Canadian Pacific that bought Kansas City Southern.
I thought it was Canadian National.
The one I read, I know was clearly it was Canadian Pacific.
Well, anyway, still.
Yeah, it's still, but Canadian, this is Canadian National, not Canadian Pacific.
Doesn't the National Railroad own Canadian Pacific?
No.
Oh, okay.
Canadian Pacific's more Western Canada.
Right. Okay.
Western what?
Western Canada.
Okay.
Canadian National was Eastern Canada, Canadian Pacific was Western Canada.
Yeah, okay. Maybe, yeah, but still.
But still, it was a big game changer. Kansas City Southern was the only major railroad that crossed into Mexico and the United States. So, I mean, it was, and yes, one of the big advantages was no duplicate trackage, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's just fascinating.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Uh-huh, and Mark, the library.
Well, they've of course been meeting via Zoom until the last meeting they were able to meet in person. There's been new trustees on that money from the O'Berries that's still hanging fire and whatnot.
This has been eaten up in legal fees.
Well, I just don't understand their own attorney not pushing harder on this and.
Just
the
because the
judge-
attorneys are milking this puppy out for everything it's worth.
And the
That's what
judge-
attorneys
The
do.
judge is letting this go on so long. I mean, this has been going on 3 or 4 years now.
Jeez, Pete.
Who's the judge?
I don't know.
It's probate. Right?
Oh.
It's in probate court. He's the probate judge, so I don't know who else it would be. We
I
already
mean,
have
they
one.
let this guy Ted to rights, he should be in jail, O'Berry's brother. Because he took the money and he made a statement to people. They didn't even know they were getting this money until he made a statement to somebody that overheard at the bar about how he was not gonna let the library get any money. And it went from there and they've received, I forget how much, but there's still over $100,000 that he's spent that is owed to them. Plus, all their possessions were sold and none of that money went to anybody that was supposed to go to. He was named the executor, and he just sold everything and pocketed it. So anyway, so they got a new whatever. They're still working on their website. They've been working on that pretty hard. They expect to go live in May. And their summer reading program, a lot of people want to be able to come to the library for the reading program. They're still trying to work out how they're going to handle that. So it may be a combination, a hybrid of some kind, because they are pretty popular when the kids are out of school, of course. I don't know if the kids know anything about going to school anymore or not. So, but that's pretty much the library.
Okay, all right. Troy, I-69 Freight Corner.
No meeting since our last meeting.
Okay. SEDP, Shawwassee Economic Development.
Yes, thank you.
President and CEO of that,
Thank you, Mr.
Company is
Supervisor.
here.
Give me a quick update, and I'm gonna head out, I gotta go to gym class still tonight. But the big news I wanna share with the board, and you probably know a little bit about this already, the EDA money is coming back from the federal government. This was the pot of money we had looked at before, the 80-20 grant that had been available, that we did all the work for. Well, it was a first come, first served, and basically other communities that were maybe a little further along in the process got in line before us. They allocated all the money. So we began the process of looking at other funding sources. Well, this latest stimulus package, part of what's going on, they're getting even more money than they got the first time through the EDA. So we are waiting on guidance for that right now. We don't know all the details. Our EDA rep doesn't know all the details, but it's assumed that it'll probably be no worse than what it was before, which is 80-20. Maybe it could be better. So we're much further along than we were before with our preliminary engineering that the township and the city supported. We have a lot of support in the service area, from beneficiaries. However, we're also going to see if we can add some more. Troy provided some good business contacts for some of the property owners in the territory. We also got in the mail information from the city of Perry and their portion of that service area as well on Lansing Road. So we're in the process of beginning outreach to those folks to see if we can add the number of support letters that we get there. So there's really not a lot we can actually do right now because that guidance is not in place, but as I said, we're pretty far along. And I think we're going to be well positioned to go after money this time. So hopefully in the next, 30 days, maybe sooner, maybe longer, it's the federal government. But I think we're going to be well positioned to put in an application. I think we stand a good chance to get that money in, so. Very excited, we don't have a lot of money, county still don't have a lot of money. Township doesn't have a lot of money, city doesn't either. We need that kind of funding source to make something like this feasible. So pretty excited, so
Okay.
more to come. We have our work group, Troy's part of it, Mark's part of it, Mayor Sue is part of it, John Souter, the DPW director, so good stuff.
Justin, while you're here,
Yeah.
quick question.
Sure.
Have you guys had any discussion with Huntington, TCF, regarding the overall impacts of their merger? This is they've announced they're closing our
I
branch
know.
here.
I heard that from our Mark's on the board with Craig Bishop, he's been the TCF Community Bank president. I can tell you at a local level, he's extremely disappointed. To me, I get, right, things are moving electronically, but to not have a bank in Morris and Perry just makes no sense to me. Now, I realize these are decisions that are made higher up. I'm sure they're numbers driven, but to me, there's still enough market demand for a community, particularly a larger community of Perry Morris, to have something. So I don't know if that's going to change in any way, even if there was a fight put up. I guess.
Because my understanding, there was a fight put up and the fight has been lost.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think it's the nature of banking today. We're seeing it, branches closing everywhere, consolidating of banks. They barely finished the chemical TCF merger before getting into Huntington.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy. So, what does that mean? We've looked at this. Mark, we talked a couple of years ago about this,
Maybe it's time to revisit that. Portland, MSU.
PFCU, yeah. Credit unions are about the only ones making real estate, growth.
We need a bank if for no other reason the business is able to get changed.
Deposits,
Well,
yeah.
and that's what I brought up, yes, in checks, there's remote capture technology, you don't have to go to the bank to make a check deposit, but
Right.
cash should do. Unless there's something else that I don't know about yet, and of course, basically our options from here would be to either the Corona branch or the Williamston branch, and
Yeah,
we're about 6 to 1, half dozen the other from here,
yeah. It's
so.
very inconvenient.
Well, plus they raise their fees.
Right,
We had a situation with chemical that we would get interest on accounts which amounted to nothing, but we weren't charging any fees on them. Well, they've changed that if you want the interest-bearing accounts, and Troy handled it with the Township, John's handled it with Sessa, then you pay a $14 per account fee a month.
wow.
And that's,
I think if you had about $5 million, it would offset what they're paying in interest in it, but.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Mark. Like we did a couple years, I will reach out to every bank, credit union, whatever, in my Rolodex. And I'll just say, hey, we got nothing, not only in Perry now, but nothing in Morris.
Right.
There's a market opportunity here.
There's
Well,
lots of
I
vacant
would
land.
think that at the corner would really be the spot because of the truck travel and everything else that comes in there.
Thing.
There's
We
times,
used to have one at the corner, right?
First Federal.
It's Cafe Sports now, but yeah, we used to have one at the corner.
That was a bank.
But I'm just,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
it's worth,
think
it's
that-
worth a shot.
It's
Particularly now, particularly when there's no other alternative.
Correct, the fact of the matter is Chemical had historically had most of the business banking in the Perry Morris area.
Right.
Yes.
John always banked there,
Right.
the IGA did, the 7-Eleven, McDonald's, Burger King, they all banked at Chemical and Morris. Anyway, so I can see why PNC did
Yeah.
that, but
The other
I'm a little surprised they're pulling out now.
Bank uptown in Perry.
I was gonna say, move into that. The pharmacy with it, I know.
Yeah,
But now there's nothing,
Right.
yeah, the side that's leasable has all of the vaults on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Does Walter still there?
Yeah,
They didn't take 'em
and
out.
the side that's under leases.
I could have still kept my stuff in that vault I rented.
Yeah, but they can't open the door.
Word shot.
They took their keys with them,
You
right?
got insurance? Yeah.
Oh, heavens.
So anyway,
I'll check on it.
I think it's something to throw out, because clearly they have decided to go a different direction, so.
Yeah.
And they're taking it out in the mire, you said, in a lawsuit?
Probably the ones they're closing in Shiawassee County is there's one on North 52, I guess, must be a Huntington.
Yep.
They're closing that one, the Meyer Huntington, and then the Morris TCF.
Yep.
What I don't understand is why we need 4 TCFs between Owasso and Corunna and
None
Township.
here.
And 2 left-use.
You know, I mean, there's TCF in Corunna, there's main branch in Owasso, there's the one on Washington, there's the one on 21. Boy, it seemed like we could get rid of 2 of those and keep
Yeah.
this one, but
Yeah,
those aren't my decisions, I guess.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. I don't want to put too much pressure on you there.
No, yeah, no problem.
Time to go get your exercise.
I'm gonna do it. Thanks, guys. Good to see
Good to see you,
you. I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, drive careful.
Bye, Justin.
Planning Commission, Mark.
Well, we've got the Slocum thing later on the agenda, so we'll move that along.
Okay.
And there was a question mark on the last agenda about election of officers by the bylaws, that's done in June.
Okay.
The planning commission wants a joint meeting with the township board,
Okay.
and I really feel it will go smoother and be better handled if the township board calls the meeting
Okay.
and invites the planning commission here.
What's the board's pleasure?
Well, that sounds fine to talk about the zoning thing.
Well,
But
there's a
let's-
number of things they want. They want to know the township board's feelings about should there be big changes in the master plan. I mean, we're pretty much idling on that until we get census figures.
And
Because that's really the only
October, right?
changing if we're not gonna make any changes in.
It would be dumb to do it now and without current census
Right.
data.
But, there's that, there's, you know, in lieu of the deal with Slocum's, you know, do we want to, have discussions with surrounding communities that are also wanting to have those discussions about hiring their own zoning administrator and so forth. So, this is what they want to meet with the township board about. They want to, because frankly, a number of them said, and I kind of understand it, is what's the purpose of the planning commission at the township level if what is said by the planning commission and the township board is totally ignored at the county level, so.
Here's more, not to just kick the can down the road, but I would prefer not to schedule any meetings in the next, month and a half or so after
That's fine.
meetings. So tell them sometime this summer, yes, I think we should schedule a work session. We've had joint meetings with the planning commission,
Sure.
none of you were here, but we
So
have.
maybe June,
Yeah, probably.
tentative, set for June?
Something we can have a separate meeting to have some substance discussion on.
And-
Okay,
and
that's
you-
fine with
And
me.
I did go to their meeting as an observer, the last meeting, and I did hear the same thing he's speaking about. And
It's
we
reasonable.
talked about maybe having Steve Swire or someone who has their own zoning.
Oh, I don't know that that's it. I mean, it's a decision that we have
Well,
to
it was
make.
the amount of the cost, and he could talk about the
Well,
real.
there'll be a lot of costs.
The real.
Well,
cost.
the only way that we can begin to afford it is if, so far Bennington and Woodhall are both of that persuasion, you know, whether you could ever totally come to an agreement or not. But you'd have to have, if you had a group of communities came together and split the cost,
Sure.
that would be one of the few ways that we can probably do it.
Well, the cost is a zoning administrator.
Sure.
Well, I mean, there's 2 things. There's the upfront cost to adopt an ordinance, and each municipality would have to do that, because we probably aren't gonna work under the same ordinance.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing, but that's a one-time deal, and then it's the administration of it with the zoning administrator. From what Steve told me, they spend about 40 grand a year on it. This is what they're spending right now. So,
Okay, so we'll look at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
but just, tell them sometime this summer we'll schedule.
Anything else in the planning commission?
No,
Okay.
not really. Well, most of our discussion was about that subject and about the master plan.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the other thing was the Slocum deal, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Troy, financial report and pay the bills, Troy.
Okay, you have your list in front of you. It's a split list this month, so you have transactions through March 31st, the end of the fiscal year, and then transactions since April 1st. So that's why you have 2 different ones there. The budget to date numbers are what would be the final for the fiscal year. And we have a couple amendments we have to do, and those are further down on the list.
So do you need a motion to pay the bills?
We do.
Let's pay the bills.
Pay the bills. Okay, motion been made by Mark, seconded by Butch, all in, or roll call vote.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffith?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Rick Herman?
Pay the bills. All right, correspondence, Kelly.
I had no correspondence.
Other than what we got on the business, okay. Public comments again. Okay, unfinished business. So far, so good. New business, Kelly, FOIA, procedures, guidelines, and FOIA fee schedule resolution.
Right.
Update.
So there were, the FOIA laws have changed a little bit, so we just had to update our FOIA law, our FOIA guidelines and procedures. And then we had some hourly wage changes, so I had to update the fee schedule as well. That's about the gist of it.
So what do you need from us?
A motion to, let's see here. By resolution, we have to approve the FOIA guidelines, and the fee structure.
So resolved.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
I'll second that. That was a nice one there. All right, roll call vote.
Rick Herman?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffith?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay, board review, we had an expanded board review session, we had 3 sessions, first, second, and third. First one March 8th, second one March 10th, and the last one on Tuesday, March 16th, because we had to sign a bunch of papers that were done remotely because of Zoom, and basically we wanted to get everybody back together to sign all of them. But we had 10 veteran exemptions, we had 3 poverties, I believe. We had one guy who took his swimming pool out, give him a $5,000, he took it out quite a while ago, got that taken care of. On the second session, we had the third poverty exemption, and we had one gentleman that wanted to complain about his taxes being so high, and but he didn't bring us anything to look at. And let's see, that was that one. Then the third session is when we had some property divisions. Consumers Energy had some personal property statements that were turned in late. And so we did that. We had another person on Rose Boulevard that had a property split change, and got that taken care of. And then another gentleman on Britton Road, that was an error, got the error taken care of. That was that. Any questions?
How many appeals did we?
Huh?
How many appeals? You said 10 vets, 3 poverty, and
Well, 2,
2 appeals?
1 we didn't act on.
Okay.
No, not there. No, we asked for more information, no. No information. Okay, who wants to do the Slocum variance application? Who wants
All
to
right,
talk
let me
about
talk
it?
about it.
Mark, you want to talk about that for us?
There's not a whole lot we can say about it. I mean, the project's been approved, with the exception of that, and they were pretty adamant about this, that they feel that Slocum should have to pay to make that a Class A road as far as their driveway. Because, and their feeling about this wasn't about today, it was about 15 years from now when that road needs to be repaired again, because it wasn't done correctly now, then the township's gonna be stuck with paying for it, and they don't feel that's correct. So they feel that as part of their project, they should have to make that a Class A road to enter the property.
Winter Road.
Winter Road.
Well, the problem, so they applied the rezoning, which we recommended against, and the county gave it to them. So, but now, of course, what they rezoned doesn't meet the criteria to get a driveway. So, and they have been discovered that they can't even get a driveway on M52, as I believe we had that discussion, one of the reasons we denied the rezoning.
Yep,
You
exactly.
know, details, right? So anyway, now they have to get a variance because it clearly says that a municipal or a mini storage unit should be located on a major thoroughfare, and Winnegar Road does not constitute as a major thoroughfare, so the planning commission decided to weigh in on the variance request, and I mean, what they said is reasonable. I'd be shocked if the ZBA says what we recommended, but, nonetheless, I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, because the reason B3s are allowed in certain areas is for certain reasons, and the rezoning then caused the need for a variance, and even if this is approved, they still have to get a special use permit.
After this.
I mean, they're a year out from doing anything, even if they wanted to. I mean, whatever.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
the
Can I
planning
ask-
commission wants the board's support in this matter.
I agree. Can I ask John, since he represents us?
Sure.
On the bigger picture over there, with people involved.
Is this over my head? No.
Tell us what your thoughts are and what do you feel the future holds for this?
I understand making it Class A to the driveway. I mean, if there is a driveway on Winnegar Road, I understand that, a turn lane there to turn into a storage unit can be very, very expensive.
They can't put one in, they don't have enough frontage.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Yeah, MDOT isn't gonna allow them to do anything.
Okay, so it's gotta be a Winnegar Road.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, I mean, when you stick a business in an area that doesn't have facilities, like water, sewer, or a Class A road, or a blacktop road, or a proper road, however you want, it's gonna cost the builder a lot of money. And that's the way it is. It's like, you don't see many subdivisions anymore being built because the subdivision builders can't afford to put it all in. I mean, there's a lot of that too. I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna spend the money, you better have enough return on investment.
So, do you think that the county will approve this?
They wanna, I don't, if the roads guys say it's gotta have a Class A entrance, I don't think the county has anything to say about that. I think,
This is a zoning board of appeals matter, not a rezoning, and those are two very different things. I mean, technically in the county zoning ordinance, is where we give our recommendations to the planning commission and the township board. The ordinance doesn't really call for this in variances. Now, we can chime in, I mean, we are effectively sending in our comments, but this decision, the zoning board of appeals gets to decide the driveway thing, and they're really the final say. It can then be appealed to circuit court beyond that.
Is that right?
Right, variances don't go to the board of commissioners, that's a rezoning thing.
yeah.
So and the zoning board of appeals is a different board than what
The planning.
the planning commission is. And it's the zoning board of appeals is the one who weighs on, so. Well, I will make a motion that we concur with the planning commission and that we also send a copy of our recommendation to the road commission.
Sounds good.
Second.
Okay, Troy made a motion, seconded by Butch. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you. Troy audit extension.
Okay, our contract with our auditors were up, and they provided us two options for an extension. One was a 3-year agreement, one was a 5-year agreement. The 5-year agreement starts with a lower dollar amount at the beginning, and then it goes up by $300 a year. I've been personally happy with them. I think Kelly's been happy with them. I have very little desire to just change audit companies all the time because it's a massive pain. We did get seems like we got a blind letter from, I think, that company that you're using at CISA, but nobody ever contacted me or gave us a price or anything else.
The company that we went with for CESA is out of Chesaning.
Correct. And
the
then
gal
somebody,
that used to be at Demas and Winslow
Correct.
is there now.
I know, but they sent us like a blind letter on it, but didn't give us anything else. And so, my personal opinion is I would recommend the 5-year agreement with them.
Troy, what did we pay in 2020? Last year?
$5,800, 1,500.
It's on the budget.
$5,500.
So would you prefer going with the 5-year program?
Yes.
I would, because it's less money.
Makes sense.
All right, I make a motion, we stay with them and sign the extension with the 5-year program.
I'll second Mark's motion. Kelly, we gotta have a roll call vote.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Farmer.
Yes.
All right, Kelly, you're next with website services.
So,
Services.
our host is retiring or not gonna be doing it anymore. So we've gotta go out and find a new one. I contacted IT Right, because they do the cities and their website looks very nice. I talked to the people in the city and they said that IT Right did a good job, so I called them. They're not doing it anymore.
Oh, shoot.
They're maintaining their existing clients, but they're not doing new ones for
Right.
websites. So.
So they recommended Shoemaker Technologies, which is the STG. And then I went out and I inquired Revise, and also one called MuniWeb, or MuniWeb. Shoemaker Technologies,
Village is doing that.
the village is also doing Shoemaker, yeah. And it's recommended, like I said, by IT Right.
Kelly, with all your review, what do you think is the best, which is the best fit for us?
I think for the money, I think Shoemaker is reasonable. They have training, which is one thing that we didn't get with this last one. We have an option to do just support and hosting for $349, or we can do support, hosting, and maintenance, which I would recommend for $599, because that way, if there's any updates, they'll do them. You know, if we have to change the website in any way, they'll do it. So I did do a virtual mini training with Revise, and the guy was very, very nice. It was an easy, website to update on, but it's kind of expensive. So,
This is what you want.
I'll make a motion, we go with the STG for the support, hosting, and maintenance package.
Troy's made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Mark. Kelly?
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Farmer.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes. That takes care of that. We'll have a website that looks pretty finally. Ours is very plain right now. We all apologize for that, but we're not gonna tell you what happened. Boo-boo. See some board appointment. Kelly, you wanna start that?
Okay, so we received a note from Jeff Harris.
Jeff Harris?
Jeff Harris. It says that he would like to be considered for the vacancy on the Sussex board.
And
So,
what they-
and he would, what we're talking about doing is he would be appointed as the alternate,
Is the alternate.
because Bill is still technically the person, and he would remain that, provided he can come back, so the alternate would, obviously Bill's in the alternate, and we are authorized to have an alternate per the bylaws and agreement.
Great.
Now, Mark, you said there is no problem. He has a son who works for the department, that's
It's not a
okay.
problem. That's not a problem. His son couldn't be on the board, but
It's okay.
he's a little hesitant about looking at it as a long-term thing. But I think once he gets involved, it's not a high-pressure.
For those of you that don't know Jeff lives down in Morris, or the southern end of the township, he owns Morris Hardware in Morris too, so.
And,
I
you
met
know,
him. Good guy.
he's a good level-headed guy, which is what we need on the board, people like that. And I think this gives him an opportunity to see if it's something he would consider if Bill steps down, so.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Jeff Harris as the CISA member alternate.
Butch will second that. Okay, Troy's made a motion, Butch seconded it. All in favor?
And you need to do a roll call, it's an appointment.
Oh, well, we'll do a roll call vote then.
Bush Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Farmer.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Okay. Will you call Jeff? Okay. Picnic table for Old Perry Center. One of the council members that has a works in a landscaping business in Novi, is on the park board for the city of Perry. And they're going to put some picnic tables at this Old Perry Center, Rupert Road, that whole area there. And I told him that I would get with the board and see if we could donate a picnic table or two.
Where is the old Perry trees.
When you leave and go past, and Rupert, you turn left, it's right there, that little semicircle right there.
It's that little chunk of property between M52 and,
So if you go down Roper Road here into 52, there's a little piece of road that goes across and then comes back out to 52. In between there is Old Perry Center, there's a historical plaque in there.
They want to develop that.
And that's where Perry used to be until the railroad went where the railroad was, and then they picked up and moved to where it is
Moved
now.
everything down by the track.
Moved down by the
Moved
tracks.
by the tracks.
So basically, they want to do a little couple picnic tables next to the historical marker. I think there's a time capsule buried in there, the school's done and stuff. Did we get a price on the picnic table?
We, not from them, but we found a good price, in fact, I stopped
We
there
just
yesterday.
buying,
Home
we just buying
Depot,
a random.
$119, it's wooden, you gotta put it together, but, it's at Home Depot, and, I did talk to the mayor yesterday, and she thought that was fine,
Well, I'll make a motion that we spend up to $250 for a picnic table at Old Perry Center.
there you go, so we might get two of them, okay?
Second.
Butch seconded that, well, that takes all the pressure off, okay, so, okay.
I mean, I assume the city's going in on it too, right?
Now,
Go ahead.
we gotta pick it up.
we were talking about
Ken
that.
and I talked about that, and your name did come up.
Well, I kinda figured that.
Well, isn't-
What I was just saying, we gotta put it
Here's-
together, or are they gonna put
Here,
it together?
here's the thought. We first thought about getting just a gift card to Home Depot and called the mayor, and she said that would be fine. Then we talked today, and we thought, no, we're gonna buy the picnic table or two, and if they're already together in a cardboard, we'll just pick them up and we'll deliver them wherever he wants us to deliver them to. 'Cause they can put them together.
I think of that $250, we'll buy the picnic table and the stain or whatever we have to do and paint it
Yeah,
and deliver it to wherever we want.
there you go. Does that sound like a plan?
I gotta go pick up my granddaughter's couch tomorrow.
Okay,
Where?
Wausau.
In Owasso? You want a rider? Can I bring my credit card?
yeah.
Oh, I just,
Is that okay?
I got a sales thing.
My God, we're gonna spend more
Yeah,
time talking
that's
about
right.
picnic table than we
I'll
are
just
anything
pay
else.
for it, I got the sales.
I make a
thing.
motion, you guys work this out after the meeting.
Fantastic. All in favor of this picnic table? Roll
No,
call
we
vote.
didn't get
Ken.
a roll call.
We're spending money.
Yes, just get a gallon of stain or something to go with it,
Medium stain.
whatever, pick
We
it up.
will.
How about purple? I'd like
No,
purple.
we,
stain.
well, what's Perry's favorite?
Somebody
Is
steal
red their
it.
favorite color?
Red and white is
Red and white?
colors of the house.
Red and white,
Kelly
okay.
Schmidt, yes.
Table white, the seats red, right?
Troy Parmalee,
Yes.
Mark Folds,
Well, yes.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes,
Okay, good.
Well, thank you, board. Yeah.
I mean, I assume if the city's getting one too, you wanna get the same type of picnic table,
He
right?
didn't get back with me, so I don't have an answer for you.
Why don't you coordinate that so you don't have two mismatched picnic tables?
Well, that's a good thought too. Yeah. Might have green or white ones on. Okay, we're gonna go to the next, which centers on picnics, landscaping, landscape project. Kelly, bids, landscape. Okay, let's talk.
So, as you know, our shrubs outside are incredibly overgrown. They've been here for 30 years or more, right? So, I got some bids from Crooked Tree, Landmark,
Rescue me.
Rescue Me, and also Mike Green and Sons.
Okay.
And I had them bid it in 2 stages. The first stage, tearing out the old shrubs, filling in the holes, putting landscape barrier down, and then mulch on top. And then the second phase would be the plants. So in front of you, you have a new bid from Crooked Tree for $46.65. Rescue Me, $46.25. Landmark was $46.10, and then MR Green and Son bid $7,500.
What was Crooked Tree? I didn't get that big. How much?
Crooked Tree was $46.65.
Okay.
So what I told Kelly is, I mean, these came in and these are a little steep for shrubs around the hall, at least I thought. What I told her is like, it probably won't be done in the next month or so here, but when we're caught up on planning that, we have for our loader a tree core attachment, which would yank all of these out. which is the big part of the
Yeah.
cost here, is tearing out the old shrubs. Such that I think I can get that done, and we'll let the haul, because we're going to just take them down to the cemetery and the pile to burn. So then, from there on, then we can get somebody to come in and do.
Okay, because I have enough of my own landscaping at my house to do. I don't have to do it here.
Right, and so I think you're gonna have somebody come in and then do the rest of it. That would cut the cost in half.
Probably.
Absolutely. Okay, Troy. Well, what's the board feel about that?
I'll give you a hand, Troy, when you wanna do it.
It sounds to me like a good plan, and did you just want to table the rest of this until?
Yeah, why don't we table it? It'll be a month at least.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Troy, that would be good. And Butch?
Somehow I can't bring myself to spend $7,000 on land.
That's a lot. Yeah.
No, I get it.
I know.
But it's getting
And
pretty.
we'll be more careful, you never know what's going to pull up here.
We've trimmed these back, and unfortunately, when we trim them back, we want to go more.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Or they die.
And the rescue
we're
bee,
not fortunate.
Anthony Carhall, we had people say that, if they're fire hazards. I mean, if this caught fire, if they did, die in the middle and somebody puts a cigarette out there or whatever, they catch, we're asking for it. So if we can get them out of here, it's probably better.
And bark can catch on fire too, anything can catch on fire. But yeah, nonetheless, they're getting a little overgrown.
They are. Okay, sounds good. That's the landscaping project. Now we're gonna go from the landscaping down to the cemetery flags.
Yes, so each year we're required to place flags on the veterans' graves in the cemetery. Currently at Roseland, we have over 500. Bethany has over 60.
Okay.
So I just need to replenish our cemetery flag stock and holders.
Now you repaired about 100 of them.
We repaired about 500 of them.
Oh, 500. Okay, we repaired a lot of them the last one.
So I suspect we can get one more year out of what we trimmed and whatnot, but we need to have replacements.
And we have to put them down May 21st?
I forget what the date is.
I think that's what you told me, yeah, May 21st, I think you told me. Okay, so anyway, we got to get it ordered, right?
Yep, so these will replace the ones that don't make it this year.
So what do you need?
So we need 2 gross, which is 288 flags and 50 holders.
Kevin can't help us.
No.
And the dollar amount is?
Dollar amount is $549 plus shipping.
Make a motion that we purchase the flags and the holders.
Troy, okay.
I'll second
Second.
that.
Kelly's going to second that, all right? Roll call vote, Kelly?
Troy Browning.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay, that's the, okay, now we're going to get down to the drains. Lock drain maintenance resolution, Troy.
All right, we've talked about this off and on for several years, the lock drain, which originates down here on Rupert Road, and then heads west, crosses M52 near the pond there by where Turkington used to live, and then proceeds to the Perry number 2 drain outlet. It's been in need of some substantial work. The drain commissioner has finally gotten that around, and he's gotten his cost estimate somewhere around $13,000 to $15,000 to begin the part on the west side of M52, at which time then MDOT is going to replace the pipe under 52, and that's MDOT's responsibility because there's some issues with the current one.
And that's like a 12-inch pipe or 15-inch.
So anyway, under the drain code, if the drain commissioner is allowed to spend up to $5,000 per mile, and he just does that, and he just decides that, but that drain's a little over a mile, so it's 2 miles, so it will go over that.
Okay.
The options are, if the township board passes a resolution to authorize him to overspend the maintenance limit, which that's what this document is from the drain office, then it's okay. And this is just like any other drain. It's assessed to the property owners. Township pays a little at large, county pays a little at large. Or the other option is to open a petition. Problem with, for this small amount of money over the maintenance, the petition would add more cost the petition would cost several $1,000s to over it. So the recommendation was that we do this resolution to overspend the maintenance limitation, which the township's allowed to do.
Okay.
So I make a motion to resolve.
Mark has made a motion
Another
to
one of those.
proceed with the resolution.
Second.
Butch seconded that resolution. Okay. Kelly?
Mark Vogt.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Perlman.
Yes. Okay, good, good. Magnet contribution, Kelly.
We received our annual letter from Magnet requesting contribution. Our typical contribution is $2,000. I recommend that we, again, send $2,000. They're asking for $1 per capita, which is $4,227.
Yeah, we always give them two.
I'll move we, okay,
I'll second Kelly's motion.
All right.
Kelly made a motion, okay. Mark seconded, all right. All in favor, roll call. vote.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Perlman.
Yes,
Mark Vogt.
All right, yes.
just spending that money.
Troy, you got a couple budget amendments now, we're spending money.
All right, 2 budget amendments for last fiscal year. First one is for the general fund. We went over, we adopt by cost center, not by line item. So as long as even if a line item is over, as long as the cost center is under, we're okay. The cost center for border review, we did end up going over. It was a combination of several things. One, we had the extra session. 2, this year for the training, we paid them for the training. And historically, we hadn't paid them for the day of the training, but the training is mandated by law now. So the combination of all that, we ended up going over by, what was it, $40 or something like that.
Yeah.
So to to get it all squared back around, the first amendment is to increase 247,702 salaries by $400 and take it out of contingency. Then the other amendment is for the cemetery perpetual care fund. At the end of the fiscal year, we have treasury bonds, and we have to have the set value of those treasury bonds as of the date of the end of the fiscal year, even though we're not selling them, but you have to report them as if you were liquidating them that day. Some years they go up, some years they go down. This year it went down because the value, if we were to sell those bonds, has gone down because of,
Yeah.
they move inversely to the interest. So anyway, that amount is going to be shy of $5,000. Again, there's no money changing hands here. It has to be reported in the audit, though, as of the value at the end of the fiscal year. And if we don't do this, the auditors will say we went over budget, even though we didn't do anything. So,
Okay.
So-
Budget amendment.
does that make sense? We've done this before, whenever treasury bonds have fallen. The last 2 years they've gone up, so.
So I make a motion, we do the adjustments for this.
The budget adjustments for the
Yep.
year end. Okay. Motion's been made by Mark, second by Butch. Roll call vote, Kelly.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Perlman.
Yes.
Mark Vogt.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Okay. And then now we've got the culvert replacement agreement. This is with the county road commission, Troy.
Oh, yes, we're paving a piece of Lock Road that we're paving this year west of 52, and there's a major culvert under there by the golf course that is in the process of failing, and obviously it doesn't make any sense to pave the road with a failing culvert under it, so this is to replace that culvert under there. They've already got it flagged and stuff, but, so this would just be.
Culvert's 2,100 and the laborers, they estimate 10 hours and 150.
Yes, it makes no sense to pave the road with a failing culvert.
So we need basically not to exceed 3,600.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
And just for, when I talked to Chris at the road commission, the price, remember that price on that project came in quite a bit less
Yes, it
than
did.
they had estimated. He said, we got that asphalt price for not drastically different than what they're getting for the main county paving project this year. He was shocked. He said it was a great time to do it and we got a great price on it. He's not sure why, but, so,
We did good.
yeah, it's good.
So I'll second your motion.
Mark, okay. And Kelly, roll call vote.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Perlman.
Yes.
Mark Vogt.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Okay. Trailer, Kelly. Our trailer we own.
Okay, so we have a landscape trailer that's 16 by 10 or 12 down in the cemetery pole barn. And Mike Green spoke in interest to purchase it. He said he would give us $600 for it. We paid $800 for it back in 2003. Personally, I don't think we should sell it, just because if for some reason the Greens don't do that down there anymore, then we may need it for the next section.
What's the replacement cost, roughly?
Couple grand.
1,800.
$1,800.
I personally see no reason to sell it either. It's not hurting anything unless somebody else just desperately thinks we should sell
I
it.
thought we should discuss it here, though, you know.
Okay.
What's
So I think,
your thought, saying?
we're in consensus not to sell it, so,
Okay.
not selling it.
Move.
We don't.
So moved, okay, okay. And now, last was just turn the asphalt parking lot out here. It's opened up quite a bit. Kelly's being concerned about it. We put 5,000 every year in for the account. And so I got with Justin, I asked him to get with Gary Peters' office and find out what are the rules for this money we make. It's 400,000, and we gotta give maybe 80 or 100 grand or whatever Troy thinks. Where do they say we gotta give to the Morris Village? But if we have 300,000 left, you know, we can use it for roads. We can use it for,
Where does it say we can use it for roads in here?
it says it in two places. It says here that it can be government services, investment of water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure.
Okay, I see the water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure.
Yeah, that's all I see.
And then on the back side, it talks about,
Well, my feeling is that we should make sure that we can handle this water project
Well, here's
before
what-
we think about spending money.
the reason I brought it up, and let me get my thoughts out first. The reason I brought it up is if we can take the money that we earmarked for the road, you know, of which is earmarked by the DDA, it's also earmarked by our property we sold on your Rock Road, and that was about 350,000. And if in fact we get this money and it says we can use it on infrastructure, okay, then maybe we can take 200,000 of that and use that for the infrastructure project. If we're only going to use it for water or sewer, and then maybe we can relieve ourselves of $50,000 from one of the other accounts.
So you want to do a bait and switch with the federal government.
And that way we can have the money to pay to get this totally redone, which will be about 52,000 as of 3 years ago. I had asked Kelly, I thought we ought to have a new bid, find out how much it really costs now with the labor rates, so we know what we're talking about. So if we get the money next month or the month after, and they say you got to spend it in a year, we at least have a quotation to say, hey, this is really what we need to do. Comments?
I'd like to see the money, number one, come to us.
Well, I want to see it too, but I'm
And
just saying.
number two, have the true rules that we know are correct, because, you know, I don't trust Gary Peters' office to give us the
Well,
exact.
this is quoted right out of the report.
Well, but see, Mark, you were talking about number C. For the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenues of such metropolitan city non-entitlement unit of government or county due to COVID-19 public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent fiscal year of the metropolitan city non-entitlement unit of local government or the county prior to the emergency.
Or,
We haven't had any reduction in revenues.
or do you make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure?
I know, but the parking lot isn't on water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure.
No, but the water is.
Yes, I know what you're talking
And
about
so,
doing.
you know, I'm just saying, there's an option.
I mean, is that an option? Maybe, but yes, I think what Mark's, we don't know what grant program's gonna come into play here. I mean, if this EDA thing comes through and then we can use some of this to match it, maybe we'll be scot-free, but
Yeah,
they
man.
haven't mailed us a check yet.
Well,
I mean,
no, nor has the,
we may not have a bank to deposit it in anymore
nor
even,
has the
so.
EDA, nor has the EDA give us the money either.
Right, so I mean,
But we need to cover our base.
I think we'll, yeah, I mean, we could get an updated price on the parking
It's
lot.
2012, is that right?
I think it was.
It's 2012, well, there's a lot of water in the.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, I think we had talked about doing another,
I think
crack
I'm gonna have to
fill.
get another estimate just in case.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
I don't want to get.
I mean, I didn't realize it was open as wide as your hand. I mean, there's, you know, a little kid will run through there and trip on it, and we're gonna get sued, you know? I mean, it's really, out there, it's open. I walked this whole thing this afternoon, and it is, well, it's nice weather.
If we don't do some, I mean, we at a minimum need to crack fill it again.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the last time Guy did it, he said,
No,
he goes, I'm putting a lot of rubber in the cracks and it's not even.
it's not
filling
helping,
up."
it's just going south.
Right,
So
but we
I-
can do a lot of crack filling for less than $50,000.
Well, that's true, but I'm wondering if we couldn't, in those super duper large cracks, if we couldn't fill it with asphalt and just
I
take it down.
would think we could,
Could
yes.
we cold?
Cold patch, possible,
I mean,
yes.
we can get that on.
But I hate to rush into doing anything until we know
Yeah,
where we're at and how this money can be used. Because the money from the water property, when we approved selling that, we said in that
Yeah, we were
motion
pretty
that
clear
was
on
going to the expansion of the water system.
Which we can use that for that. But-
Right, but we can't shift it off to something else.
But what we're looking at is an additional couple $100,000, which we don't have.
Right.
That's what they want, that's what MEDC wants us to come up with, a couple $100,000. So, I'm just saying.
If MEDC is gonna kick in their half of the 20,000.
That'll be a.
So anyway, I mean,
So I
yes,
just
we
want
can
a
get it out
discussion
there.
about
We
it.
just got a lot of ifs going on right now.
I think we ought to get a current quote, at least from one person or two, and just to see how much it's
That's
going to
fine,
cost.
that's fine.
okay.
Because this thing's gonna come fast. You know, and I'm gonna send the Spencer from Stabenow's office to see if I can get a clarification out of them on really what can this money.
Well, I think this lays it out pretty clear, and
It
this is
does.
what MTA said, and I think it's,
Yeah.
I think it's very clear what it's allowed to be used for. And our amount can be used for basically the infrastructure improvements, which I think we should really look at. And maybe not in beyond water and sewer, the broadband part too.
And even if we have money left
And
over-
infrastructure is more than just roads. I heard him say it today, in fact.
Well, that's not what he defined in the law, he said.
I know.
But I mean, we've had some serious discussions before about broadband. I think when we were doing Zoom meetings, that was pretty obvious, watching Kelly try to get on. I mean, there's some
Butch had to
real,
go to his house.
there's some real issues in our area.
And I do think that's true. I mean, I agree that we need to do something about the parking lot, but, you know, maybe there's some other ways. Maybe we need to look and see if there's other money, just like we're trying to get for the water system. Maybe there's some other grant money because of all this going on that.
I said we cut down the shrubs and tear up the parking lot and make it gravel. Just looking to see her reaction.
I didn't even recommend that we plant anything this year.
Oh, okay. Just
We
pull
just
them
need
out.
to pull them out
Pull
and
them out,
get them
let
ready.
it, let it settle. John, any more additional comments that you thought of?
Keep in mind that even after 2020, we got a letter at the end in December saying that there would be more COVID money coming for us from the previous past ones, and it's up to about 700,000.
Okay.
I mean, that's extra for the budget year of 20. So you got you're getting this money, 400,000, well, be ready, there might be more at the end of the year because they didn't give it all.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm chuckling about, you know,
How much is in our sinking fund now? 15,000 or 20?
It's probably the main thing we need to fix here.
I think
Yeah.
it's 30.
Okay.
Yeah,
We almost got a roof paid for.
We're not far from it.
Unless the asphalt prices go up because.
Well,
Well, that's the hazard.
It's petroleum based,
Well,
so.
that's right, that's right. Okay,
I
all in
make a
favor of
motion that
adjournment?
we,
Who wants to make a motion to adjourn?
I'm.
Butch, who wants to second?
I'll second.
Mark, all in favor?
I-
Right.